Bipolar rollers, welcome back. Caught one in the nose yesterday during a sparring session, so I must really love you guys if I'm making a video currently right now. I should have probably waited until my nicked nose feels a little better. Anyway, but instead I'll make a video so I can, memorialize this magical moment for all eternity. Every time I watch this video, I'm going to remember that left to the nose that I wasn't lucky enough to avoid. Today we're going to talk about a topic that hopefully you guys can relate to, because I've noticed over tracking my bipolar over the years that I go through these periods where I'm really extroverted for a few years, or maybe just a year, and then suddenly I find myself sick of that life and becoming introverted for a year or two. Now, I do this for a variety of reasons. There's three that I can think of for sure that are intentional, and the rest are just kind of side effects, I guess. But one of them for sure is that if you are overly manic or going through mania for an extended period of time, if you're like me, you kind of are almost ashamed of some of the things you might have said or done during the mania, and so you kind of want to retreat a little bit. At least I do. I feel like everybody's got that, when they get overly excited or worked up, that sometimes looking back they realize they might have overreacted, or just living an exaggerated life, which is really kind of what mania is in a lot of ways. And if you're like me, you're kind of embarrassed about it, you kind of pull back a little bit, realizing, whoa, I made some really stupid decisions during that time. Or, hey, I really associated myself with the lowest dregs of society during that particular moment. Let's face it, you're going through kind of mixed feelings. There's a scatteredness to your life, and that kind of energy putting out there, you're going to attract people who are maybe dealing with their own demons, and that's always been a soft spot for me, like the underdog, the one who's got some challenges to overcome, but still goes at it. I always had a soft spot for people like that. I find myself kind of drawn to them, and them to me in a lot of ways. So, but that can work against you. It can be pretty detrimental, so you got to be very careful about that. Anyway, I don't want to get too off topic here. The reality is that having been in the music business for a while, it was almost kind of encouraged, or you got to really play out your mania a lot more because certain things were a lot more acceptable, because as a musician, you're kind of given a little more leeway as far as the crazy button is concerned, and that can be a bad thing, because I know I definitely burnt some bridges and lost some friendships, maybe even had some bands fall apart over that whole ordeal, because like I've said in a lot of my videos, those of us with bipolar, we need somebody who's around us that can maybe let us know when we are getting out of control, because we don't often spot it in time. Mania just comes sometimes, and you can't tell if those are your feelings or the heightened feelings of mania, or or what you're seeing is actually what you're seeing, or if that switch has been flicked where everything is just perceived differently by you. So it is important to have somebody around who can clue you into that. I can't say there was a lot of those people in the music business, but so you get a little crazy, you realize that that's not who you are, and it's hard to live up to, so you peel back. Some of us, through mania or just the kind of casualties of bipolar, we realize that maybe we don't particularly like people all that much, or maybe we feel that way because we're always being misunderstood, and in some cases mistreated, because we're not like the rest. And sometimes we're doing the mistreatment, but you kind of pull away. For my reasons, of course, were embarrassed, or I just got sick of people, because when you're manic, you're out there, you're projecting, right? But it's exhausting too. That is one of the other reasons that I pull away. It's really tiring dealing with a wide array of people, which is the people that I've welcomed into my life being bipolar. The people that I pull in were just as exciting and explosive, and that's hard to keep up with, man. Because mine's a condition. Like, some of these people are just naturally like that, wow, that's tiring. I don't know how they do it, but sometimes you just can't. You've had your fill and you just need some time. Me also, I found, and let me know if you can relate to this, but I found that I made some poor relationship choices when I was heavily into, when the spectrum had taken over me. I just didn't choose the people I associated with or dated or anything very well. Like, I didn't think it through. Like, I knew some of their habits weren't right for me, and I knew that their temperaments or that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not a dumb guy, but bipolar's challenging for any relationship, much less one where you two aren't properly matched, right? So, and in order to really know what's right for you as someone with bipolar, you need to spend some time alone. And I say this in a lot of my videos, and it's so important. If you can't handle being alone with yourself, then you've got some self-love issues that you need to work through, because it's really hard to treat people well or to love them properly if you don't love yourself. I honestly believe that. It's like pouring from an empty cup. You got to have a lot of that love in you. And being dependent on other people for your sense of, importance or worth, value, it makes you pretty codependent. So I relish these moments where I take like a year or so off from just being a social butterfly and just get familiar with who this guy is again. Maybe just reset, because my settings were all over the place, trying to match other people and trying to just fit in, I guess, or adapting to the surroundings, because I did move to a small town and life has been quite different here than it was in the big city. It really gave me an opportunity, though, after one enormous flop of a relationship that I initially moved out here for. It really gave me a chance to figure out what the hell I was doing wrong, and what were some of the qualities of the people that I was choosing to be with that were just wrong for me. Not wrong for them, but definitely wrong for me. And it was like relationship 101. Like, I got a chance to just kind of study a little more, figure out what habits are not good for relationships, how to have better conversations, how to keep the romance alive, keep things exciting, conflict resolution. There was a lot of things. Honestly, I can say that if you spend some time being an introvert and staying away from groups, I mean, that's a lot of work being around other people. So if you freed up your time with and got rid of some of that work, spend it on bettering yourself. Honestly, I can't say enough about it. I feel very confident going back into the dating scene, knowing that I've conquered some of my demons, and some of them I know are still going to be a bit of a challenge, because I'm kind of bullheaded sometimes and I don't take shit from people. But I've realized now what things aren't shit, and that are valid concerns, and what things, like other people's feelings and that you have to consider. These are all little things that you can do as a bipolar person when you hit this spot that I'm just coming out of now, which is like the introvert, the hermit. You back away from people for a while because it's a little much, trying to keep yourself in check and still interact with others, you know, without having the bipolar thing kind of turn people off. And it's done some amazing things. I really got to know myself better. I got to work on a lot of things I hadn't done before, or couldn't complete. I mean, heck, in 2 years I wrote, played, recorded, made videos for like 74 songs. I couldn't have done that when I was out there being social butterfly, partying it up. I mean, Mania was fun but exhausting, and almost ended me, you know. So having moved to this peaceful small town and gotten away from, like, you know, the wrong people, and just gotten to know myself better, I think now that I'm more able to understand what I can handle and what I can't. Do you guys go through that? And when you come out of this introverted stage that some of us go through, how do you work yourself back in? I mean, do you have patient and loving friends who have been just sitting idly by waiting for you to come out of your shell? Or have you lost a lot of friends who've given up asking you out, asking you to do stuff with them, asking you to partake in their life because you just couldn't be bothered before, or you make excuses or back out? I felt like I couldn't handle all the energy, you know, like I was putting so much into trying to be a better person that I just couldn't handle anybody else's drama anymore, you know. So that's an issue too. But hopefully in the comments section you can tell me about what you think about some of those things that maybe you can relate to. And I'm happy to hear those stories. And I want to know, am I the only one, or am I one of the, because I've read about this, and so I can't be the only one, but I want to know how many of you there are who fluctuate every now and then, every few years, between introvert and extrovert. And how was it for you? I can only speak for myself, but I know extroverted me was a fucking wild man, you know, and I don't think anybody could keep that pace up for too many years. I'm glad it only comes in like 1 or 2 year spurts, you know, but I haven't had one for a while. And I really enjoyed the introverted stage, but I'm ready to get out there, you know, because you can't overdo the introverted stage. You lose touch with people. I found that I was losing all my, from being cooped up for a while, I was losing all my social skills. Like, I just felt awkward around groups of people, which was never me. I was always front and center, and now I felt like I had a really hard time even just having conversations or interacting with people without feeling awkward and weird. Like, don't overdo it. You know, I think you can get too comfortable with the fact that you only have to deal with your bullshit, and it's a lot less work, I think, for me anyway. I mean, not at first. It was a lot of work to be by myself for a while because I was lonely. I still kind of am, and I was just not prepared to deal with all my inner garbage, you know. But I felt like it had to happen. And let me know if you've gotten to that point where you're just like, you know what, I need to stay the hell away from people for a while and just sort this stuff out. Sort me out, you know. I'd love to know if you guys have gone through that similar dilemma and what you did about it. Because I know that this was great. It was a great idea. And it was a hell of an experiment, and it took up a good year of my life. If we're being honest, about 1.5 years. But boy, do I feel like a brand new person ready to take on the world. Now I've got to just maybe find my partner in crime. I think that's the only thing that's missing. So, and I'll keep you guys chronicled on that, because that's going to be an interesting adventure. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you're dealing with your bipolar, and if you've hit this stage where you're going from introvert to extrovert, or vice versa. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Anyway, as always, bipolar rollers represent.